Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. So today we are discussing a model that was made in 50 pieces in grade 5 titanium. This is the Bethune DB24, and the 24 is fascinating because it includes a feature that is almost unheard of in the world of watchmaking, which is the ability to set the winding efficiency of your watch. So you can see that we have low, medium, and high. So if you're like me and you're very sedentary and you work in an office, you set the winding system to high. If you kind of mix it up, you have active and inactive moments, you can set it to medium. And if you're very active and you don't want to create excessive wear and tear on the winding system, you can set it to low. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The watch is part of the DB20 series. The early DB20s had a unique transitional design, sort of like a large shingle. And while it is rated as a 48 millimeter diameter, the actual fit and feel isn't quite that severe. 14.2 millimeters thick, it's 52.5 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 26 millimeter spacing between the lugs. And you'll appreciate that on the wrist, not being huge across the wrist, it actually fits just fine. I would still recommend a wrist of 17 centimeters circumference for the best proportional aesthetic, but you can see that the lugs are not beyond the edge of my wrist, so this 48 was more like a 44, and I encourage you to think of it that way. It's not as thick as you'd expect, and with a stepped lug, it actually will fit underneath some cuffs. Being made of sapphire and titanium, it's very light. You can see it as a strap that is all synthetics, a combination of textile and rubber, but keep in mind, this is made by Jean Rousseau, and it's a Bethune factory strap designed to be water resistant. Has a little adhesive residue on the bottom, don't mind that, but Jean Rousseau is the OEM strap supplier to Bethune as well as FP Journe, and so this is a factory strap designed to get wet, and this watch, with a minimum water resistance of 100 meters and a screw-down crown, is a true sports watch in that sense. We have a lovely matte blued and fluted Bethune pin buckle, and at Bethune the buckles typically match the design of the case or lugs. And you can see here that the design of the buckle really does match the design of the lugs. Grade 5 titanium is nice because it's as light as grade 2, but it's also more scratch resistant than grade 2 or standard watchmaking steels. Here you can see that we've got a polished case that also features some matted satin elements as contrasting detail. And then we have this lovely media blasted and fire blued titanium screw fixed bezel that looks fantastic. And so these screws, I actually believe that these screws may be bolts, properly speaking, but they fix the bezel to the case. The crown is a screw-down design, unbranded in Bethune's practice. These typically had 100 meter water resistance, though some versions of the early DB20s include 200 meters. So either way, you can swim with this watch. These were the first series, these early DB20s, like the 20, 21, 22, 21 was just a prototype, but 22, 24, the screw-down crowns made them swimmable, whereas previous Bethune watches were not. The dial you can see is a assembly of titanium that includes media blast, satination, and then you can see the hands as well as the bolts used to represent the hours, or at least to represent the odd hours. All of these have been fired and blued, as has the grill over the power reserve indicator. The dial has wonderful depth, color, texture, tone, and the watch, of course, like most Bethune watches, features a dial, case, and movement made in-house. Now you can set everything quite easily, and it has a wonderfully little dead angle. As you turn the crown, the hands move almost instantly. There is a power reserve indicator up on the top of the dial, and as you wind it up, it changes from red to black. The watch is automatic winding though, so you don't have to do this. It has a 6-day power reserve courtesy of 2 barrels. And then if you wish to adjust the winding efficiency regulator, there is a quick set in the crown that allows you to perform that operation. Just like that. The movement is large, 30 millimeters in diameter, and it features a shock-protected center rotor bearing. So 4 shock protection springs, each with a jewel inset to reduce friction between the rotor and the springs. Denis Flageolet patented that. The variable winding efficiency system, 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs on the balance called triple parachute, that's patented. We have here a non-annular titanium and platinum balance, one of at least 10 balances patented by Bethune, and also the company's signature 2-piece hand-formed flat hairspring that breathes like an overcoil concentrically in every position, but is flat, thin and shock resistant like a flat hairspring, along with the 4 hertz beat rate, this movement. Again, a 6-day power reserve and no tricks played with the size of the balance or the beat rate to get that long power reserve. Lots to love here, very sophisticated, 47 joules, and a timepiece that represents a unified vision by a single man. When you buy a de Bethune watch, you're not buying the product of a committee. It's what Denis Flageolet, the founder and creative lead, the French-born watchmaking genius, a scientist, an engineer, and a watchmaker, what he thinks a watch should be. And so that is exactly what we have right here. Remember, RM gives you a variable winding efficiency system, but it can only be set by a watchmaker. This, it's up to you. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.